Let's just see if things going to be working. If not, hey, it actually works for a change. Thank God. Well, there's going to be a shout out to a few people out there, but starting off with Jesse Dollarmore and Brittany Page, and then the Reverend Ed Trivers, and Artist in Recovery. Hi, gang. How we doing? 6:14 at night, Sunday, 29th of September, 2024. And I am responding to Mr. Jesse Dollarmore's video concerning about another nut job that I know my Reverend likes to talk to his congregation about. Jess, we haven't talked in a hell of a long while. I'm sorry. Things have gotten crazier and crazier for me these days, and we just don't talk anymore. I wish we had, because I'd be submitting a lot of stuff to you. I've been hearing about the rest of the nut jobs you keep running into, the political but now the religious jobs, and scares a friend of mine. He's concerned. And quite frankly, so am I. I am very much concerned about what's going on these days. Only I'm trying not to react as much as you independents out there, but I am reacting. And another friend of mine on the East Coast is also having conniption fits because there's a certain candidate out there that he's really got to burr up his butt on this one. I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit on that one. Only sometimes I wish anger wasn't the only thing running his life, but he's trying. The only thing I can tell him is keep hanging in there. I mean, there are people I talk to about what's going on with me. But regarding politics, I try to keep my therapist out of it, Jess. Long while for personal stuff, and I've been putting it out there on my own channel. Politics, science, controversies, and other stuff like that. It's a diary of mine. But it's also a gauge of sorts of how I'm doing. When I get on the camera, I like to present myself in a manner that I'm actually sane and normalized. But off the camera, that's a different story altogether. Depression, grief, crying my eyeballs out. Listening to the politicians and the reporters going after each other left and right. It's a free-for-all in the media group, regardless if it's either the independent or the corporate media. It's a free-for-all. How are we supposed to deal with that one? I don't know. I have no clue. But what I'm doing right now is just getting an email set up. Talk to people about what's going on. Henderson, I know, is going to be one of them nut jobs out there who wants fire and brimstone, hell to come down on earth because he wants his ego fed. That's all it is. Showmanship. I have got the greatest ego, I have got the greatest thing on earth, and I am going to prove it to you because I want your attention at this point. I am feeding upon you like a leech upon you guys, draining off your goodness and draining off your energy to feed my loathsome creature. That's how it is, isn't it? We've got a P.T. Barnum's going on left and right. We've got Rush Limbaugh and the Limbettes out there. We got the Trumplicans out there. Whatever you call these guys who are going off conspiracy nutland, that's who and what they are. They don't like life the way it is. They've got to shake things up, and they got to tell people to be afraid because I'm afraid of it, and I need you to be with me because we need to be fearful. I question why. We already got enough on our plate as it is. Why do I need your paranoia in the first place? It's one thing trying to help out a person if you're into a religious format or form or philosophy to try to help people as best as you can. The problem is when you want that fear and anger and everything else, you want control, power, and you got addiction going like crazy. Jesse, that's all it is a basic addiction job we got going on. Basic head games. We want the power, we want the control, we want, and we don't even realize What we have here is good enough anyway. But no, we want more. We are not satisfied because inside we are a spoiled child inside our souls. Trust me, I know what that is and feels like, and I know how that feels, and growing up, it sucks. I am lousy at practicing my religion and my faith. I do have viewpoints that are border on hypocrisy a great deal. But then again, I guess when we're listening to these people who are supposed to be giving us good advice and we're not taking it, we think we know better. And then we hear some guy coming up and says, "Oh, that sounds good. I think I'll follow this guy for a while because he sounds like he knows what he's doing." Does he? And do we actually know? Do we actually feel it inside? Now, I know what it's like to follow other people and then get disappointed left and right, but also I know how to get relationships going and then have it backstabbed on me left and right. And we're not talking about usual the male and female or anything else like that. No, what I'm talking about is one person trying to get another friend or working with another person, and then you think you know them for a while and a long time, and then you get backstabbed. I start to realize the play of Shakespeare is more in tune with today than anything else, because we have a bunch of backstabbers out there that we put our faith and trust into, and then we get conned out of it. And no wonder we get angry and pissed off a lot of people and don't trust anybody. But we'll listen to someone else guy because he's sharing the same level of intensity. And we attracted to that, and we're back into the damn game all over again. This time we're so warped and twisted at this point, we're not seeing what's going on around us. And these guys are taking advantage. I mean, these con men are taking advantage of us left and right. All these so-called preachers out there, the fire and brimstone assholes out there. They want me to fear God. They want me to panic. If there was going to be an angel, do I have to cringe in fear? If I happen to see even an inkling of God out there as an energy form coming down from the heavens, maybe there's going to be a lot of people running. Oh, they'll probably smile and say, "Yes, yes, yes, I'm going to be saved." And then wonder, are they going to be worthy of being saved? I already know I'm a fool and an idiot, Jesse. I already know, and I've said it many times. I don't know why Christ selects people the way he does. And I don't know why God keeps finding the fools and idiots after time. Because maybe somehow there are lessons to be learned. There are growth potential to happen. And he sees the potential. Now, I may not be poster boy material. There's no way in hell I am a poster boy material. But listening to guys like Henderson and Webben, and God knows how many people we got out there trying to show how godly and worthy and everything else, I'm standing there in disbelief with my jaw hanging down and shaking my head because these people are listening to this damn crap. It's like I might as well keep showing them a part of Sweeney Todd, the Barber of Seville. There is an act in there. There's a section in there where uh, this one con man who pretends he's a barber and he's got uh, miracle juice for everybody. And Sweeney already finds out what it is. It's a bottle of piss. But this is supposed to be the magic elixir, according to a young twerp, who throughout the film, actually throughout the play, ends up being the destruction of Sweeney Todd. And he's taken to jail. Or actually, he's going to be taken to an insane asylum because he went over the edge on this one. you've seen the entire play of Sweeney Todd, you probably understand it a lot more. Or even Johnny Depp does it pretty, I think, decently. But there was a 1980s or 90s stage play out there, and different forms of the stage play out there, still able to be viewed on YouTube. So I would suggest you watch that with Miss Page, Jesse, and enjoy it and understand it. Then maybe you'll get some of my references as I'm trying to relate to you. And as I'm trying to give this information over to my dear friend, the Reverend, on this one. We're dealing with a guy giving people off a bottle of piss and calling it the magic elixir. A guy who brings out false hope to people. Guys like him, guys like Trump, just con people left and right. It pisses people off. I mean, speaking about that one there. But I've heard these guys before, growing up. They were out there in the 1980s. Surely you were young enough to watch some of these guys on television. You had to have been. I've seen them on television. And I kept changing the channel. I didn't want to watch this. I know there was a few decent enough pastors who did the televangelism I trusted. And read their material and found it compelling enough that I actually believed it, matched it up with the Bible, and I'm thinking, cool, I like this. Hearing this crap, he said James, right? He said James 11, James 1:11, right? He didn't read the entire thing. Jess, either did you. You didn't even say that on your own damn show. So it looks like I got to do it on mine. I'm reading off the BibleGateway.net. BibleGateway.com, actually. And this is going to be James 1 through 12, I think. The New International Version. Reverend, can you please follow? Thank you. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes scattered among the nations, greetings. Consider trials and temptations. Here we go. Is that number 2 or number 1? Okay, number 1. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt. I really got to work on that one. Because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. And I have an issue with this one here. Because I thought even God would like the doubting, because he still wants to show that he is above anything and everything. And he's got his own plan, his own actions, and we still have to have even just a tiny bit of faith. They say it is a tiny as a grain of mustard seed. The tiniest thing that they can actually measure. Very tiny thing. I say I doubt. Well, sometimes I have to be tested on it. Let me continue. Believers in humble circumstances ought to take pride in their high position. But the rich should take pride in their humiliation, since they will pass away like a wildflower. For the sun rises with scorching heat and withers the plant. Its blossom falls, and its beauty is destroyed. In the same way, the rich will fade away even while they go about their business. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. Do not be deceived, my dear brothers and sisters. Each good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like the shifting shadows. He chooses to give us birth through the word of truth, that we may be kind of first fruits of all he created. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all the moral filth and evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror, and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looked like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. Those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. Keep this in mind. When they had written this, they already had enough temptations out there in their time. It would have fit in with ours. It would have fit in. Because we would have the same thing too. Maybe a lot more, but we would have it. Basic building blocks that would turn into that kind of crap. And here's the thing. We want power. We want prestige. We want to be on the soapbox. We want to get our reward right now. Unfortunately, when Jesus was trying to talk to us on the Sermon on the Mount, he was warning us about that kind of situation. Oh, we'll get our attention and we'll get our just ego fed. That's the only reward that we're looking for, because that's the reward we're seeking, and that's not the reward that might be given in heaven if we weren't so headstrong in our own desire to feed our ego, feed ourselves. I have to be reminded of that on a constant basis. Even doing the videos that we do, Jesse, I'm wondering, are we doing it for the right reasons? Is it altruistic, or do we have an ulterior motive? Because I have to question myself on my channel all the damn time. Every time I'm posting my video out there, am I doing it for God, or am I doing it for my own damn self? Put it bluntly. I need to. I need to know. I need to understand. I need to. Because if I understand, when I understand, I still make the choice whether or not I'm feeding the ego or I'm trying to do God's work. I just wanted to get a video channel to talk about my own pains, issues, ills, wills, and everything else going on inside of my head, to make sure I'm going to be keeping my memories going and alive. And in a way, I've got a way of a memory vault, and to see whether or not I'm not losing my mind or not. You try losing many people in your lifetime, many people and many beings in your lifetime, Jess, to where it hurts. Every time there's a death, every time there's mentioning of this thing, it just adds more and more to the pressure, more and more to the depression, more and more to the stress, to the grieving, to the PTSD, to everything I've got going. And trust me, I'm seeing a therapist about this one, and we're trying to get and dig deep into this thing. I've even told her about what I go through, and also that I do a hell of a lot of recordings for myself, that I'm chewing up file drives like crazy. Because in a way, if there is going to be generations after me, probably in a different name, maybe a slightly different bloodline, but maybe, that the stories of my mother and my brother and me and whatever we have regarding the family doesn't go away. I make my own family Bible of sorts, of pictures and words. And they have to be, because I don't want us to fade out in memory or history. I want it to say that we existed, that we were alive, that in the time that we were here on earth, we had a choice. We had a chance. We did. Some stuff we did and some other stuff we didn't do. Things we did wrong and things we tried to make amends for. To be human, to celebrate, and to mourn and grieve if necessary. What's wrong with having a memory vault on YouTube? What's wrong with having this? I've come across, Jess, so many people that have killed themselves. I read the stories, I've heard them, and it just says the same thing. They wanted to be remembered. They want to make sure that they left something behind. And sometimes they may not have. And people couldn't interpret it. They couldn't interpret it the direction they were going until it was too late. How many people have you came across that were going in that kind of a dire disaster, and you wanted to know what the hell going on, and they were sending out the notations, but you didn't see it. You didn't keep track of it. You didn't acknowledge it until it was too late. I'm feeling more and more. I'm almost thinking along those lines at times. That's why the videos must be out. They are the breadcrumbs. You have to tell the story. I am a storyteller of sorts. I have to tell my story of my life, my family's life, things that matter to me, including, we have to talk about it, the evil word of politics, and everything else that's ringing around the damn thing. But even that is part of the story. It has to be said. It has to be told. And I don't make a dime. I don't get a reward for it except to tell my story. Because if I'm dead one of these 3 days, my story's out there, and people will listen, and people will wonder who the hell I was, why, and maybe some element of it that'll tell them what they need to know. Maybe they could avoid a few things I've done, or maybe they're in the same predicament I am, and I just wanted to be reassured. I already know what death is like as a young kid. It scared the hell out of me. But I also know the energy signature of that one there too. But I can tell you one thing. You're going to be yelling and screaming at people. God hates you because you're this, you're wicked, and therefore you must do these atrocious things over here to gain his favor. I mean, how many forms of brainwashing have we heard about that from influential people who are trying to do things to tear the people apart? How many con men? How many lunatics out there? How many cult leaders? A few famous ones in our lifetime, Jess. A few of them. Jim Jones ring a bell? David Koresh? Two major nut jobs I remember. Jim Jones was when I was a very young kid, and they talked about him in the 70s on that one. But Koresh, I was following this asshole back in the 90s on this one when he did his stupid. When he had to barricade people, he had to trap them up. And some of the other nut jobs out there we don't even get a chance to see, but now they're putting themselves out there online. With the modern day technology we've got right now, we can actually put these guys on vid, or they can put themselves on video, and we get to see these assholes at work. And we're already seeing them. You're already reporting on some of them anyway. So are you, Reverend. And the thing is, I don't want it. I don't feel it. I don't want to go through it. I'm trying to be one of these kind of nut jobs saying I know what the hell I'm talking about. I know what I observed. Now, it may be some different point of view. Okay, fine. Accept that one. Everyone has got their point of view, and I accept that. I may not agree with it, but I don't have to keep pushing it down people's throats saying you must believe me because I say so. So we all keep hearing, isn't it? Ain't it? I mean, hell, you keep pulling up the phone to God. It's like the bat phone to the heaven. What was it? To the heaven cave, and there's God as Batman or sorts. Or is that the phone to Jesus? A direct red line to Jesus on this one. Sometimes I keep wondering why he keeps dealing with me in the first place. I need to be worthy of him, but man, I really don't like some of the shit I have to do in the first place for it. But the stuff he keeps asking for is the stuff I still need to do. And it's needed. And portions of my life I've done. And still need to constantly do. I need to be of service. I need to be of help. I had been to a lot of people in my lifetime. I'd asked for no rewards or no recognition for it except to say that I've done it. And because it was needed to do. I wasn't trying to plead to the heavens since I have done this and I think I'm fabulous and I think. No. People needed help. Living beings needed help. And I stepped in. Job had to be done. Get in there, do the job, and get out. I didn't expect myself to fade into obscurity sometimes, except when I'm doing this kind of crap. And now I feel like I'm thumping my chest without even realizing I'm thumping on my chest, and that makes me even more screwed up. Because I'm talking about it. Because now I'm being like everybody else on a soapbox saying, listen to my story and I shall tell you this thing. Because I think you should listen to it. It's voluntary when it comes down for these things, I tell you. I'm doing it for memory preservation. I have to keep saying that one. But to push people for the likes, push people for the comments, for subscriptions. I got a small amount of people who keep wondering what the hell's going on with this nut job here. I don't blame them. I'm a nut job. I'm a fool of an idiot. Maybe says so to God. He's not exactly happy with it, but probably hear this or feel this sigh coming from him all the time. I didn't create you to be a fool and idiot. Yeah, well, God, I feel like I am a fool and an idiot because of the things I've done and the things I've said. And I'm not quite sure if it's for your glory or for mine or for someone else's. And if it's someone else's, I don't want it. If it's not for you and Jesus, fine. But if I'm doing it, then I know I've got a problem. I mean, even if he actually came down or Jesus came down or one of the angels came down, one of those guys came down here. And people are having a conniption fit and they're freaking and panicking. They're saying this, Roger's here, take me, take me. I think I'll probably stand in the middle of the crowd just looking at him, just perplexed. I think I will. I think I'll probably sigh and say, "Can we talk?" I mean, is it possible with all the crowd around here screaming and yelling their heads off, freaking out, and trying to look at the Almighty or whoever comes down from heaven? If I could just look at him for a couple of seconds, that can we talk, please? I mean, I know I've been doing a hell of a lot of prayers in my lifetime here, but is it possible to do this kind of situation? And hopefully, I'd get into a conversation, talk like I would talk to another human being, and just dump everything out there. I mean, just pour the heart and soul out. Because this is what I need to do. I had a lot of I had a lot of crap happening in my life as back then and now. People are still trying to tell me how to think, how to feel, how to be. And all I want to do is ask God the same questions on this one here. It's like, what do you want me to say, do, be? And you gave me the free will, but here's the thing. Didn't give me very much wisdom. I have to learn that on my own. I have to find out through my own God's instincts and feelings and maybe guidance somehow, somewhere. Someone may be not worthy of my attention or trying to distract me one way or another. Okay, fine. But you're going to try wanting me to do death and destruction? No, I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to wish that on anybody because that's not right. I know this is a long ass video. I'm sorry. I get too damn wrapped up in my own thoughts like this. I've looked at the time. Even I take up the reverence time as much. I'm not perfect. I'm not wanting to be perfect. I'm not willing to be that way or someone else's version of it. Even if it's God's version. I don't know what his version for me is. I feel like I'm not able to meet up with any of this stuff. The only thing I would have to have is a nice deep conversation with him. And one of these days developed a technique and ability to listen to him, actually listen to him and understand that maybe he already knows before I say it. Because he's already felt it and thought and already looked at my thoughts on this one, and he knows it better than I do. But he'd still like for me to get it out in the open anyway. So maybe he also watches my videos without me realizing it. An audience. That's okay. I'll take that. I'll take that. As for the guys like Henderson and Trump and everybody else, I'm not willing to play their head games. In my own town of Roseman over here, we play these kind of head games all the time. They think they're Trumplicans and they think they're this way and that way, and they just would follow along with whatever the other people say, and they complain that there are sheeple here. You're a sheeple because you're doing this. I'm not a sheeple, but I'm following this guy. I'm thinking to myself, oh God, help me deal with this. Not deliver me, but help me deal with this crap. Because if I'm stuck here, then I gotta deal with them and their damn head games. Look, no guru. I'm not a guru. I'm not even on anyone's level at this point. I'm just one screwed up human being talking about this stuff. And I'll probably be posting it on public because I know some of you guys actually do look on public. So, private messages I'll be sending to you guys. But there's a couple of you out there dealing with the public, so I have to post this on public on YouTube on this one. So, forgive me for being a pain in the ass. That's what I am. I'm a fool. I'm an idiot.